Nothing's happening.
Just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that. Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot ones.
No, let me tell you, I don't have to look at this objectively at all.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Fudger's Lot. Good evening and welcome. It's Monday night, it's live, it's 8 p.m. We're here to talk all about Sheffield Wednesday. I hope you've had a cracking weekend. So here we are, Si and Steve are joining me, Ash, to talk all about Norwich and the little trip to Southampton. You all right, chaps?
Yes, thank you. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, mate. Absolutely buzzing.
We're in better shape than the boss tonight, aren't we? We should maybe tell people why there's only 3 of us and not 4.
Yeah, you've noticed that obviously there's the 3 stooges here. The boss man is called in sick. And when I say called in sick, he is sick. He overindulged Southampton away. Belgium Blue has wreaked its revenge on Daniel Fudge. So that's why there's only 3 of us. So if whenever you see Dan next, please remind him that, he's not doing too well. So, yeah, just 3 of us to lots of football to get through. Obviously, we've had it's a 2-game week. So we'll get straight into it, shall we, chaps? And everyone, thank you everyone for tuning in. All the comments are coming in already. So we've got Craig said that Dan is hungover. Yes, he is. So I will say that. And Philip buys you as well. Gone by 7 on Saturday. Hello. Oh, he's being grassed up here. Look. And John Wakefield, Fudger's Lot without Fudge. World's gone mad. I know. So, lads, here we go. Wednesday night under the lights at Hillsborough. It was the designated blue and white night. First things first, just your thoughts on that. I mean, the administrators are trying everything, aren't they? Si, what was your thoughts on that? It's a good little thing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, Christ, you're well against it, aren't you? Trying to get a decent crowd. Wednesday, bonfire night, Norwich at home, isn't it? It's always been a 19, 20,000, if you're lucky, game. So hats off to them. You know what? The administrators have done an amazing job since taking over. Just incredible of turning this old battleship around. We're not a super tanker, have we? We've turned around like a little rowing boat rather than a super tanker. And the administrators have done a superb job. And the blue and white night, reducing ticket prices, still to, they didn't reduce them to, I remember the heady days of where it was £1 a kid and stuff like that. It wasn't that cheap. I know how we got a bit of, when it was promoted on the social medias the next day, a lot of people were saying, it was cheap tickets, etc. But it's still a reasonable price. Enough for a family of 4, but enough to get, enough for a reduction to get people in. Fantastic idea. And as a season ticket holder, I had no issues with it. Let's get the old girl rocking. Yeah. Let's get a full, and because that's what we've got to do to try and turn the team round, isn't it?
Yeah, Stevie, just under 29,000 there, and Si just said about obviously even being a season ticket holder, no issues with it. Yourself, Stevie, obviously no issues, mate. And how did you feel about Blue and White Night?
No, not at all. No issues whatsoever. I thought it was, as has just been said, a fantastic initiative. It's not just about obviously getting the stadium rocking. We know what the process is. We're trying to sell a club at the end of the day. We're trying to make us a marketable proposition or a profitable, saleable proposition for somebody that's going to come in and potentially, make an offer on the club. What they're going to want to see, they're going to want to attract investors by showing the potential, a full Hillsborough under the lights, making loads of noise, decent on-pitch performance against an opposition who weren't great in terms of their form going into it. It was an ideal opportunity to put ourselves, out there on as a platform to sort of anybody that's sort of wavering about whether or not you're going to invest. Blue and White Night, fantastic. The theme, everything that they did around it beforehand in terms of, the initiatives, getting the legends into the club shop before was an absolute departure. And it's those little bits, isn't it, where you're talking about players that have been quite publicly at odds with the previous regime, the previous chairman, David Hurst, probably more so than the others in particular, making no shakes about the fact that he wasn't going to be around the club under the previous tenureship. He was back, Sterling was there, Roger Wilde, Terry Curran, Imre Varadi, and Chris Waddle, all in the club shop for around about 4 o'clock, I think it was, signing autographs, meet and greets, those sorts of bits is what it's all about. And it's what any other club, if you're looking at it on the surface, would want, from a legacy perspective. And I've seen it a couple of times where I went in early with Molly, and I was pointing at Chris Waddle, and then you're pointing at the mural on the wall, and you're going, see that guy there? That's him up there, and this is him at Wembley, and this is him with John Harkes, and that guy there, that's Mel Sterland, and he once played for England, and that fella there, is pretty much the greatest striker that we've ever had and probably will ever have at the moment. He's a legend. These are the sort of players that you aspire to be able to see in a blue and white shirt again. So from the off, I thought it was an absolutely fantastic idea and initiative to get things going, and it took the atmosphere was great. We had a little treat that we might talk about a little bit later, but from the moment we got down there was a buzz, there was a vibe. It was fantastic. 6 o'clock on, there was something to be done all the way up to kickoff.
Yeah, they did put a few other money making initiative with a meal deal, weren't they? That if you buy a pie and a pint, it was cheaper to get people in there, and that's what you want. And you want the offers coming in that's going to help as well, don't you? You want to get in there. I mean, it's a hard one for them, and it's hard to ask us as fans to keep paying money, which we are doing, but they've got to keep ticking over and getting the money in. So I had no.
But if you make it valued, Ash, in regards to obviously the ticket prices was the first incentive, but if you've got the ability to come in and have a deal with a pie and a pint, for a fact that you're going to get served quickly because we're taking additional staff on, we were going to run it more efficiently in regards to the service, the fact that they'd spoken to suppliers, and I mean some of the suppliers. I was reading some of the stuff prior to the Norwich game. Suppliers agreeing to fund the costs of any supplies until the club was taken over. All that. It's a complete departure to what we've had for the last 10 years, where, to be honest, the commercial side, and I'm sure the poor people who've been in the background running the club have had their hands tied, because you can just see what they can do when the shackles are off. And it just showed. And for every additional person who came in, they bought a bottle of pop. They bought a pint. So huge income driver. And as Steve said, ultimately, it shows what a behemoth we are in regards to somebody coming in and actually seeing what we can bring in on a Wednesday night on not one of the most glamorous of ties. It's just buy some small incentives.
Yeah, it was always going to be hard, weren't it? Like I said, Norwich and Bonfire Night, people have got plans and stuff. But 29,000 I thought was fantastic. So let's get to the football. Here we go. We've got the Norwich lineup. So we've got Horvath, Fazer, Palmer, Iorfa, Maxwell, Amas, Valerie, Ingleson, Bannon, and which is the first 10 is probably a given. It's always the last two of this on Wednesday. It was J-Lo and Ugbo up top. Stevie, once again, no issues, I'm assuming. What issues could you have with any of this starting lineup we're putting, apart from if you're going to keep putting Ugbo up top?
No, I haven't done the research, but I'd be interested to know the last time, and I could probably dig it out while we're talking. The last time we changed the back three slash midfield five, or back five slash midfield three, it's been pretty much as you were for the last month or so, hasn't it? And I think the only way it moves going forwards is if there's an injury. We're not suddenly going to take Valerie out in the middle of the park until he goes away and stick Thornton in there, for example. Otugbeyo has had his sort of moment in the sun for the time being, and I think he's basically just sort of bolstering the bench at the minute. That back three, whatever you want to say about it, it picks itself at the moment. And we may have a conversation about that when we analyse Saturday's game and look at the legginess of the 8 that are there. But no complaints really, because there's nothing to complain about. The 4 that we're rotating up top. It's 4, isn't it? 4 that are rotating up top. It is what it is. Ugbo comes out, Kadamatri goes in, J-Lo comes out, Ugbo goes in. You're rotating them, and it probably just goes to show that they're trying to keep the front line fresh. And I know there might be a conversation around picking the right players for the right games and what have you. Fine, you can try and do that, but there's very little to say, despite the fact I've gone on for the last 2.5 minutes about that starting 11, really, isn't there? I'm padding.
You've got to look at the substitutes in the team. I mean, if like you say, Stevie, in regards to the back three, who is it to take out? Who is it to take out and put in? You've got Otugbeyo as the only sort of centre back there to replace. So you've got to stick with that. I mean, if you look at the bench, I asked the question before we came on: would you class Kadamatri as a senior player now? Bearing in mind, he's played last season, a bit part of last season and the season before. But you look at the rest of the guys on that bench, and really look at the first team. Right, you got Fazer in there, who wouldn't be getting into this side if we had the players that we had last season. He wouldn't even be on the substitutes bench. We're forced into it. Picks itself up to, like you say, up to sort of eight players, and then after that, it's who do we play in an attacking role, because there isn't anybody else there to play behind them, and that's I think that's starting to tell as the games go on.
We just had a comment here from Jay Blogs. Frustration is we can't complain about the squad in our current state. Henrik is working wonders for me, and the lads are drained when we get to 80 minutes. That's it. I know we're commenting on the starting 11, and all right, then we picked up a point against Norwich, which we're going to talk about now. But yeah, it's hard to criticise, isn't it? We've said about the starting 11 and Ugbo, but we are that thin on the ground. We've got nothing. So yeah, well, let's get into it. So obviously we kicked off. Sorry, Stevie, were you just about to say something? Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I've just done that research that I said I was going to have a quick look, just to give a little bit of sort of impetus as to where we are with things. If you take the goalkeeper out, because obviously Horvath got sent off against Charlton. The only changes we've made to the starting 11 since QPR in September is Otugbeyo and Weaver. The moment Weaver got injured, we put Otugbeyo in, and then it's been the same back line and midfield since Charlton, other than goalkeeper and the front two on the 18th of October. So that tells you, forgive me, 16th of September, Grimsby Town in the cup. So we're playing effectively the same 8 players week in, week out, and we've been doing for the last 2 months.
Right. Well, the Dan, the boss, managed to crawl out from his rock and from away from the toilet, and he's already critiquing us, saying we spoke for 5.5 minutes about the lineup. There we are.
I think I've made a salient point there about the starting 8.
I think that it will lead into some of our discussions later on for this game and the next game, and I think you should go back down to talking to God down the Great White Telephone. Leave us alone.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. So opening couple of minutes of the game. Obviously, first minute, Norwich could have opened the scoring. There was a little bit of a whoopsie from Iorfa, ball in Sargent, and just puts it wide with a hint of maybe a bit pushing the back. And nothing else happened really, did it? Until another 3 minutes later, when Barry Bannon decided to what can only be described as a shit pinger into the far corner of the Kop end. Si, not a bad strike, that was it?
Oh man, alive! As soon as you know what, as soon as it left his foot, it was going in. You just knew it. He's had a few attempts last couple of games, hasn't he? And they've ended up in the Kop, or they've gone like Jermaine Johnson-esque anywhere but anywhere near the goal. But that one, it was ball busting is the word I've got. It was ball busting. It was just amazing. Fantastic shot, fantastic finish. And you know what? What I loved was the celebration. He ran straight over to Henrik. It was almost like, mate, that was for you, which was nice to see. And is that the first time we've gone ahead at Hillsborough this season?
No, QPR, I think, was it?
QPR.
Right, fair enough. I missed that one.
So
it was worthy of it.
Just before we came on, everyone, and I want you to get involved here, I did say to the guys, I wanted, is this right, Steve? I need to check with the teacher, an adjective. One word, adjective, to describe Barry Bannon's goal. Stevie, we've heard Simon. Stevie, have you got one?
Oh, I've got several. Orgasmic.
Right, okay, right. There you go. An orgasmic strike from Barry Bannon from 35 yards puts Wednesday 1-0 ahead.
We've got orgasmic and ball busting. There you go.
There you go. There we've got three middle-aged blokes talking a podcast, and it's just gone wrong. So yeah, we've got Thunder Bastard by Stu. Jimmy Bloggs has gone with Kaplunk. Isn't that a game with straws and marbles?
It was, yeah. And
Craig's gone with Thunder Chuffer. So please, if you're listening to this, get in the comments. Please give us your adjective to describe Barry Bannon's goal. Yes, so that's 1-0. And I'll say this. I thought when that goal went in, the atmosphere at Hillsborough, I thought was one of the best I've heard for a good while. And I know it helps that people have probably helped themselves to the Wednesday Pale. There was 29,000 in there, and we're all in a real good mood. So, but I thought at that point, the noise and the level was fantastic. I mean, that's from the Kop. What about from the expensive seats, boys?
Yeah, it was great. You know, the lads that were there, or the people that were there, forgive me, as we've talked about, they understood the assignment, didn't we? And it was the atmosphere, rightly so, gave me goosebumps. I thought it was fantastic. Watching it back tonight, hearing the noise as they replayed the goal was absolutely incredible as well. And at that point, you wanted us to kick on, and there were probably opportunities for us to do so that we'll get into that we maybe didn't take. But yeah, that atmosphere was as good as it's been in a hell of a long time. Nothing like Hillsborough under the lights.
No, I've always got a thing about midweek games. I think it's a ball ache, and I'm not really a thing. But that atmosphere with that many people, I just thought it was fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, so as we go into the game, Baz had another effort from 25 yards that the keeper dived to his right and palmed it out. The pressure was on. Sheffield Wednesday were putting it on, weren't they? 1-0 up. They were at home. Obviously buoyed by the crowd. Something was going to happen, weren't it, Stevie? I thought we were going to kick on. Did you from that?
Yeah, I did. I thought we would. There was an opportunity for us to go at 1-0. Bannon had the opportunity, the chance there. There were one or two others. We were knocking on the door, weren't we, for the majority of that first half. And going in at half time, I didn't think that, you know, if we'd have scored another goal, it wouldn't have done us a disservice. It wouldn't have flattered us, would it? We were comfortably the better side for that first period.
Simon, did you feel the same? I mean, Bannon, like I say, had another effort, but we didn't really have much more after that. We had a lot of the ball, but without using it so much. And I thought we should have capitalised a little bit more on the early goal, and obviously with everyone behind them as well. I thought, and we failed to mention before the game, Norwich on a six game losing, not even a point that they were losing streak. So
you've got to look at the fact that we are short of goals in that team, because Norwich were right for the taking. And I said to my mate, I said, we get another one here, and I could see them sort of capitulating, and we could get 3 or 4. But have we got 3 or 4 goals in us as it stands at the moment? I don't think so. The players that we lost over the summer, I think that was about 40 odd goals that we lost over the summer, and we've not replaced them. And with the form that Ugbo's in at the moment, or lack of, I don't see where the goals are coming from, other than goals like Bannon's. And obviously we'll talk about the game on Saturday. I don't see where the other goals are coming from. And the front lads aren't scoring a lot. So unfortunately, I saw the game. We should have been 2-0 up in first half, definitely. But it was a very positive game. We played some great football. Maybe Norwich was struggling. They seemed struggling in the first half and probably made us look better than we are. But you've got to put those games to bed, haven't you?
Yeah, we did. We went into the end of the first half, into half-time, 1-0 up, Stevie. Straight out the second half, we had a chance with Southampton. Carried the ball into the area, shot low, keeper saved it. Should have done a bit better. And then few and far between. Until we get to an absolute superb pass by Svante Ingelsson outside of his left foot into the box. In your eyes, please describe what happened next, Stevie. Just set a picture. Like these guys here did not know what happened. There was a ball outside of the boot into the box. Keeper, one defender, and a striker. What happened next, Stevie?
J-Lo fluffed his lines, didn't he? That's the best way you can describe it. He's fluffed his lines. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Holly, actually. Somebody mentioned the fact that it was the outside of the foot pass was reminiscent of the goal against Plymouth at the start of last season. Svante and Lowe scoring there. It just obviously it's come at him on his weaker side. There was a great opportunity. I think he's just got a little bit giddy. I wouldn't like to say 9 times out of 10 he's going to put it in, because it's his weaker foot and the ball is travelling at pace, and we're just not there at the moment. I just thought he could and probably should have done better. And the way that the game restarted, you knew what was coming straight away, didn't you?
Yeah, good into the kickoff. Sorry, obviously kickoff. And within 30 seconds, the ball through to Sargent, and he just squared it, didn't he? And it was just an open net. It was a great ball through. I'm not dissing the pass; it was great, but defending was a bit suspect. Sargent got onto the ball, crossed it through, and I can't remember the guy's name. He's got a funny name, something like Lady Garden or something like that. I think it was. I'm sure it wasn't. That's it. Yeah. I was close. I was close. Just tapped it in, but it was a bit of a kick in the teeth, weren't it, Si? To go so close to getting that second goal, which we desperately always need.
Yeah, and it was such a simple executed goal as well, wasn't it? It played it out from the back. I think it was 2-3 passes, and just I don't know whether we just got caught flat-footed at the back, because he was completely unmarked. Palmer and Fuzier were nowhere, and it was an easy ball and an easy finish, really, from what came from nothing. It was just, I think it was a pass from the centre back to Sargent. He was in acres of space, crossed it over, and Kivis Garden just basically, I think he virtually almost a side foot into the back of the net, which is annoying, because I can't remember whether Fuzier had a chance as well. Was that before or after J-Lo's attempt?
Just after the goal. Well,
yeah,
after the goal was.
Yeah. Norwich did swap it around a bit, and I thought for the first 10, 15 minutes they'd come back into the game and they weren't giving us much space. But then we started to come back again, and I just thought it was coming. It was coming after that miss where he really just needed to hit it with the outside of his foot, and it was in the back of the net, wasn't it, from J-Lo? Yeah, so a bit of a kick in the teeth. But you know what? The heads didn't go down, and I thought we kept at them after that.
Yeah.
We kept at them all the way pretty much to the end. There were chances of both end. Both keepers made a couple of decent saves. But just bloody annoying. And just one of those goals where you think it weren't that great.
Yeah, that's the frustration thing. I think it was so close after us missing a great chance to go 2-0 up, and they didn't really offer anything at all. Like you mentioned, Fazeri had a chance to keep a save, but then late on, a corner, Norwich corner, a free header, and Horvath did make a good, smart save to his right-hand side near to the end of the game, and that was it. Full-time whistle, 1-1 at Hillsborough on Wednesday, bonfire night. Just, Stevie, I mean, we won. We're fighting for every point. Disappointed not to get all three on that occasion, I think, for me.
Yeah, but the reality is we are where we are. Every point's it's poor, isn't it? Every point's a bonus, and we're going to get to a point where potentially if we lose more, or we deducted more points this season, and it is by the time we get to January, February, a lost cause, and we are relegated. Then what we're doing the rest of the season. That's a small sort of negative in the grand scheme of things, I suppose, if we're accepting that we're going down. Any point that we can get, any positive performance, any win, we're going to celebrate like it's a cup final at the moment, isn't it? So it felt positive at that point to have built on the West Brom game. That was, it sounds daft, undefeated in 2, but that's where we are.
Yeah, and join us after this short interlude as we will get on to the second game of the week. So join us.
The Wednesday week, we'll be back soon. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. Thank you very much. And if you are gambling, please make sure you gamble responsible. If that is what the advert is, I don't know. We don't put them in. So 1-1 against Norwich in a home game. Then we made the short trip down to the south coast to take on Shea Charles's Southampton, because that's what I'm going to call him now because I miss him. Unfortunately, or fortunately, he's out injured. I did see on social media him and his brother Pierce were enjoying a nice meal out on Saturday night. So that's good, isn't it? Southampton, mate. What were your thoughts? Obviously, we saw all the predictions that we put out. I'll not say that Stevie got it bang on, but obviously Stevie got it bang on. Simon went positive. You went for a draw, didn't you, Simon?
Yes, I did. Yeah, 2-2. I thought they were a struggling side as well as us, but obviously I was wrong.
Yeah, Charity FC were rolling into town, weren't they? And it's hard to say. We shouldn't really say that because, like Stevie says, we know where we are and we are where we are. Stevie, Southampton. Let's get to it. I know. I tell you what. I've got something for you, Stevie. Here. Hang on, let me find it. Southampton lineup. You've got 20 seconds. Go.
Horvath played in goal. We had the same back 3/back 5 as we had the other day. Valerie, Ingleson and Bannon played in the middle of the park, and we rotated out McNeil and Kadamartri to come in for Ugbo and J-Lo, who didn't pull up any trees the other night. I think that's about 20 seconds. Go.
Lovely. There you go, boss. There you go. Brilliant. Yeah, look, Southampton, they've not been in the best form. Obviously, Will Still was relieved of his duties, so Championship manager is not all that, is it? So he can't do it in the real world, in this league, should I say? Because obviously he's been quite successful abroad. Let's get into it. A bit frustrating to start with. I'm going to have to say it. Sorry, Horvath. What the were you doing? I mean, for the first goal, the defending was crap. Low missed a tackle. Palmer spooned the ball up, and then Horvath went to catch it, and he just managed to not. Simon, you'd have caught that, wouldn't you, mate?
Mate, why is it that we've got a goalkeeper who is prime Buffon 1 minute and then prime, not prime. He's prime Findus pancake.
Ola Tidman was gone on the socials, I think, on Saturday afternoon. There's a lot of that.
It's not even prime beef, is he? He's just prime crap shitty burger from Costco. Oh man, I don't know whether this is from the fact that he has this inclination to punch it or palm it, and it was almost that situation of, do I catch it, do I palm it? He just looked a man in two minds what to do with that ball, rather than actually committing to what he was doing and catch the bloody thing. And he just does not. That kid does not fill me with confidence. Unfortunately, he's making, for every one great save he makes, there's several cock ups along the way, and it must be difficult for lads in front, because having confidence in that man at the back is difficult in it. When you've got somebody between the sticks who you really got confidence in, it does make the defence a lot more settled, and we've not got that.
Stevie, the hate, shall I say, or the criticism of Horvath, it is quite warranted, because, like Si just said, he had a great game against Leeds, didn't he, in the Cup? Absolutely fantastic. We thought he was a world beater, but he's very hit and miss. So, like I say, being a good saver against Norwich, but that's indefensible. That Rick, isn't it?
I don't know if I'd say it was indefensible.
Oh, come on! I saw the defensive contra him with Lowe and Palmer. Come on, man. Come on.
I don't know if I'd say it was indefensible. I'd say it's more inexcusable than indefensible. But we're talking semantics there. Interestingly, I've just been looking at a few notes on Pedersen's pieces with the press, and he was asked a question. I think the Star reported it yesterday. He was asked a question about the goalkeeper, and was very diplomatic in his answer. And I think that's where I sit with it. At the end of the day, this is a keeper that we are forced to be playing at the moment. He is 3rd/4th choice, playing in a League One team that was relegated last year. And I don't want to get after him. I don't want to get after any of the players, not even Ugbo. I'm not going to be critical of anyone. This is a guy who's come into the team and the setup where our hand has been sort of forced a little bit. We are going to get an inconsistent performance from him, or performances from him, because he is what he is. And Pedersen said that. He was diplomatic in the sense that he was saying he's improving from where he was and he's getting to know the team and so on and so forth. But I think behind closed doors, they probably recognise that we're dealing with what we're dealing with. He should have caught it. I don't think, whether Simon's seeing it differently to me, I don't think he went to catch it, palm it, or was caught in two minds. I just thought it was not what it needed to be. And again, trying not to get after the kid, but it just went great with it.
Steve's exactly right there, is that we were dealt a hand in regards to the keeper, because obviously we've ended up with our number one keeper getting injured, and we weren't in a position to trawl out there and buy a keeper because of the embargo. So we've had to take somebody on who, again, as Stevie says, is a 4th choice in a League One team. And it's what we've got. But unfortunately, I don't know. I just feel like he's also not under any competition either. So what annoys me and frustrates me is that 1 minute he is so good. And I think he was really good at West Brom as well after he came back, after he'd been suspended. And then you get errors of judgment like that. And like the sending off that happened at Charlton, it's just really, really bizarre. And that's probably why he sits where he is in the pecking order at Cardiff, because of that poor decision making. But it is, and there was a number of other issues, wasn't there? There was a number of other faux pas on Saturday. It wasn't just that one. And I suppose if nobody's pushing him and nobody's there to come in, a few years ago we had a couple of keepers who we would swap around when people made clangers. He hasn't got that, has he? He hasn't got that ability for somebody to come in and we've got Logan Stretch, but he just seems to be that guy will put on the. I mean, even Palmer went in goal rather than him when we were at Charlton and wore his top. We didn't even bring him on then when he got sent off. So yeah, it's not good. But hopefully Charles, I think he's starting to come back from injury, and also as well, there might be some movement in the transfer market. Hopefully over the next few weeks, if the EFL give us a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, I mean, Southampton threatened again, and it was a ball into the box to Armstrong, who again just hit it low, and it went close to Horvath again. I think he could have got down a bit quicker and maybe got to this one that just went in under him. So that was obviously 2-0. Uphill struggle, I think it was, until let's get into probably the only positive, apart from the fans, of course, they were fantastic, as always, the travelling fans are. But we found ourselves 2-0 down. Harry Amass picks the ball up about 35 yards, stretches his little legs a couple of yards forward and hits one left-footed from 25 yards. Absolutely cracking finish, down low to the goalkeeper, left. And it's his first professional goal, Stevie. Not a bad strike for your first professional goal.
Not at all. I thought he was excellent against Norwich. I think he got man of the match there on half ball. He was outstanding on Saturday at Southampton. There's just something that's happened, and he's just kicked on again, hasn't he? I like the way that he's very simple in what he does. He does simple things, but he does them so well. And you can tell that he's being coached or has been coached and come through a system at Manchester United, that he's just on another level. The way he gets the ball, his comfort, his calmness, the way that he progresses up the field, and in doing so literally cuts off that player by cutting across him. So the only way they're going to dispossess him is by fouling him. He makes lots and lots of yardage up going forwards, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. It's an absolute outlet for us. Allows us to progress up the pitch when we're under pressure. And we've got a real gem there, and I just hope that we are able to keep him beyond sort of January, which all the rumblings are that's as long as we've got him. The finish itself is absolutely fine, by the way.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he is impressing every game, and it's going to be a hard one. Obviously, things are going to happen in January. Hopefully, he stays, but he can be recalled. I believe they have to apply for another loan for the end of the season. We'll have to see how that goes. I know, obviously,
I think it's been reported that we've been down. Pedersen said that Kevin Beadle has been down over the weekend to speak to Manchester United about with a view to where we go next with it. And I understand that the feedback that we're getting from Man U is that they're happy with the minutes that he's getting. He's playing week in, week out because he's going to have to play week in, week out, and they can see that he's developing. So I think things are probably in our favour more than you'd expect them to be in terms of trying to keep him. The one thing I do understand is that whilst they're paying for him up until January, I think if we want to keep him, we'd have to pay or at least contribute to the fees going towards the end of the season from January.
What I love about him is he's got such a mature head on him. I mean, he's not much older than my lad, or our lads, Ash, in regards to his age wise. And when he gets that ball, even in a defensive position, he doesn't look to the easy ball of just hoofing it out. He looks for the pass. He looks at turning the player who's on him and bringing the ball out, because whenever you got the ball in play, you're in control. And that's what he does. And I love that about him. I think he's a great player. And he did that with the goal. He could have quite easily sort of, passed the ball, short ball once winning it. But he's got such confidence in his own abilities. And that shows on the pitch. He's not afraid. And he's also, not afraid of getting a tackle in. He's not afraid to stand up. To say he's only a small, in stature, he's not particularly tall. He's quite hench, but he's not particularly tall. He doesn't mind getting in as well. So he's a really good player. I think one of the comments on that I've seen there is that they'd like to see him play further up the pitch, and I'd have to agree. I think he's having to play in a position probably a bit more defensive than he's used to. But he's a great one for the future, and I really do hope we can keep him till the end of the season. That would be great.
Yeah, we've had a couple of comments. Stu Williams is the one you've just referenced, Si. It's the way he underlaps as the opposition gets in all the time. I'd love to see him further up the pitch. Mads Ward, Amass is starting to show his worth. Great player. Thanks, Man United. You don't hear many Wednesday fans thank you, Man United, do you? Jay Block says he took his goal. Great goal, although Southampton fans are giving their keeper some grief over it. Well, that's a bit harsh, taking it away from lad, isn't it? Stevie, we've had a question for you. Are you on the cola or stout?
Yes.
That'll be yeah. That'll be.
It's been a long day at work, and I've been to get some food from the supermarket, and I saw the 4 cans at Morrison's, lowest price for 3. So I thought I'm gonna have a stout tonight.
Oh, a stout, nice.
Stout.
So we went into the half time 2-1 down, looking to obviously capitalise on Amasa's great finish. Didn't turn out like that, did it? Though. I mean, Southampton. For me, watching it, I didn't think we threatened that much after that, if at all. I think Kadamachi had a shot. And that's about it. And then obviously we had the before the third goal, apologies, we had Horvath came out for one, spilled it, and then I think it was Armstrong had a shot on target, and Fazeri come round the back and cleared it off the line.
Cleared it.
So we were talking earlier about obviously Horvath not having the greatest day at the office, and that was just another one. But yeah, 3-1, Steve. I mean, fair reflection. I know you got it in the prediction league, but yeah, I don't think we've. I personally had no complaints.
Well, it's interesting that you say there's no complaints. If I'm going to put this comment up, Craig Turton on X has just said, despite what's gone on off the pitch, players should still be held to account. The professional footballers, if they aren't performing, we shouldn't just accept it. Craig, I 100% understand where you're coming from, fella. I get it. I don't know what else we can do at the minute other than stick untried and untested players such as your Fernandez, your Thorntons, your McGee's, your Emerys. I'm just looking at the bench that we had, Johnson. I get that, but put them in. If they don't perform, they're kids, and you know we're struggling with them. Where do we go next? I'd be more than happy to listen to somebody tell us what we need to do better. We can't sack off those 13, 14 players that we've got at the minute, because they're the only 13, 14 players that we've got. And we stuck with it. To go back to your point, Ash, 3-1, no complaints. We're always going to complain because we've lost. Not complain, but we're always going to be unhappy because we've lost. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we are where we are. But like we just said at the start of the show or earlier on in the show, we haven't changed 8 out of those 11 for the better part of two months. They're playing week in, week out. And on a 3-game week, where do we go from there? You know, we can't suddenly chuck lads in, because if we felt that we could, we would have done. We can't risk killing them, and it's the basis of the argument that we've got going forwards to the AFL in terms of slackening up the stance on the free agents coming in. Our argument is we don't have players to play. Can we have some free agents that we can sign to take the pressure off those lads and give it something more of a level playing field? Am I unhappy? Yeah. Do I understand the situation? Absolutely. But it is what it is. And, you know, after a 3-game week when it was very apparent that they were on their arses, I genuinely think that they gave 100% for 90 minutes, but they just weren't at it on Saturday.
Yeah, Sai alluded to it earlier before we got to the Southampton game about the amount of time that a lot of those 9-10 players have played in the last month, even in the last month. I think, and someone will think, but I think on the commentary for the Southampton game, the co-coms did say that was Palmer's 11th 90 minutes on the trot.
Yeah.
Now, I know Palmer's got his detractors and everything like that, but you still, if you're playing 11 90 minutes at your age and your ability, I think it's gonna take its toll. And we said about Sides said everyone looked leggy. I totally agree. That's everyone. That's not digging Palmer out for playing so many minutes. It's not his fault. I imagine if you said to Palmer, Bannon, and a couple others, you're playing every 90 minutes for the next 6 months, they'd go, yeah, of course I am. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's going to be any complaints from them players at all. It's just the situation we're in, and we can't, or we haven't got the ability to blood the young ones. And I know Weaver's done fantastic. Brown did fantastic coming in. Reece Johnson in the cup did really well. Granger played well as well, but we can't. I know they're injured, but we can't be relying on them.
Well, that's that. The injury is a result of throwing them in, having to throw them in as well. You know, you've got lads here who've come in who aren't used to the sort of the standard that we're playing at and the tempo we're playing at, and bless them, they've gone in, 100%, and some of them have come out of it with an injury that's put them out for the rest of the season. The problem you've got, and as Stevie alluded to, is talking to the EFL about bringing players in, is when you've got the likes of Palmer and Bannon playing the minutes they are doing and getting legging, getting tired, etc. That's when they're going to pick up injuries, which could keep them out for some amount of games. And in all honesty, whether Palmer's got his detractors or not, and Bannon's got his detractors, or I think Bannon is pretty much bulletproof at the moment, is we can't continue playing games if they're injured and have a lot of hope about winning games, because ultimately you would say the first names on the team sheet are Palmer and Bannon, every time, and with Spante coming probably a close third. You've got 8, as I alluded to earlier, you've got 8, 9 senior players, and then the bench and the rest are made out of kids who have barely played in the Championship, and we haven't got any depth whatsoever. So, yes, I think the comment that was made earlier on in regards to their professional footballers, I agree, but we haven't got another bench on the bench, so to speak, to bring on, and we haven't got a Bannon replacement, we haven't got a Palmer replacement, we haven't got an Ingleson replacement. We've got young kids who are trying the best, who are learning the trade, and have gone from playing academy football, under 18, under 19 academy football, and are now having to play against professional footballers, against a team who last season, don't forget, were in the Premier League. We make a good account of ourselves. We make, the team were praised by those people looking in on. They made a great account of themselves, because I think people realise is that we're the team are fighting for their lives, and without the 12 point deduction, we're thereabouts with the other two teams that are in the bottom 3. That's the annoying thing, but unfortunately, rules are rules, and that's why we've got we're on what we are on.
Adam Bishop's just put this comment on. You also forget the lack of a decent pre-season, and I think I saw on social media someone else made the same comment. Is this first 3 months of the season is their pre-season? Do you know what I mean? With the lack of it, really, we didn't have one, and then they're playing all the games and everything. So it's hard, and it is just you can't fault them at all for effort and commitment when they cross that white line. And Madge Ward said it's hard to blame the players or the manager.
It is.
There's only one person to blame in the thing, and thankfully we don't have to talk about him anymore. So that was the football, gents. That's 2 games, 1 point from 2 games. A tough week, isn't it? But now we've gone into the international break, so hopefully these guys are going to get relaxed and have a well-earned break and a couple of days off training, or go to the darts, if anyone saw on the social media. So, we had a couple of the players liking their arrows, so I hope they enjoyed themselves and relaxed for a bit. Honestly, I do, because like we say, we've just said about them being knackered, and people may say, they should stay at home and go to bed, but, however you relax and get into the hard season that's going to follow. So, that's the football, guys. There was also a matter of off-field things. So, of course, with Sheffield Wednesday, there is always off-field news stories. And after the Norwich game, the Sheffield Wednesday Trust had set up a fans forum. I believe that was all set up before administration. So I think the premise of the fans forum changed within less than a week. And they changed it around to obviously make it a bit of a more positive thing. So Stevie was the Wednesday week on hand. How did it go, Stevie? Give us a good account of what went down and how it happened for those that weren't there.
So the premise behind it, we took a phone call from Ian Bennett, the chair of the Supporters Trust, I think Thursday of the week preceding the forum, asking if we would be willing to co-stream it with Wednesday Till I Die. I think we covered that last week. I went down and supported with the coverage of that. No secrets, no lies, nothing there. James from Wednesday Till I Die did a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the organisation of the stream itself and so forth, and thank you very much to him. My remit for the evening was to be a presence for the Wednesday week, and I did the camera work and I supported in terms of helping James out. It felt a positive move in terms of bringing elements of the fan base together. We also had Chris from Rainbow Owls, and I believe there was a representation from Armed Forces Owls, and Liz was there from the Women's Supporters Group, and Ian's sort of idea was to try and bring all elements of the fan base together under one roof, which I thought was a very noble thing to do, and I thought it was a great opportunity to do so. The evening itself, rather than be one for negativity, was one of celebration and positivity. They got some of the former players that were in the club shop present, so Roger Wilde was there and Chris Turner was there, although he wasn't there the day before, and Terry Curran. We also had Keith Hackett and Chris Wickfield, and Chris was probably the keynote speaker, if you like, because he's got the most to say that we wanted to hear, and he made all the right noises. He was great value. Talked positively in terms of headlines, was saying that on current cash flow forecasts, the club are expected to make a profit of £1 million by January due to the off-field ventures that we're currently undertaking as a club, the enterprise that they're doing, which has obviously alleviated a lot of the pressure in terms of the payday stuff, which again, you hear that in a forum such as that, and it's nothing but positivity and good news, and people are looking around going, where the chuffing hell have we managed to do this from? If a month ago we couldn't pay the wages, and now we're talking about 2 months down the road we're going to have £1 million profit. He revealed that there were I think 7 at the time of the evening. 7 people have submitted proof of funds of 50 million to get access to the data room, which again, positive move. And he also alluded to the fact that the people that were showing the proof of funding aren't the kind of people, and I'll say this respectfully because I'm paraphrasing, I'm not saying that this is what, our opinions, this is what was said. They aren't the kind of people that are going to do business with people on social media and do all their doings, airing their dirty laundry in public, if you like. They're the kind of people that are doing things behind closed doors, as it should be, which I think is nothing but a positive move. He was happy. He said he was happy. Things are in a good place. The forum was positive. Everybody made the right noises. It was great to be there. It was great to have an opportunity to sort of meet some of the trust guys in the flesh. Obviously, have conversations with people over social media, but getting to obviously shake hands and eyeball, I think it felt good. And I was happy. I drove out of it, even though I was tired. I drove away from it feeling pretty positive.
Oh, good. Just for you, Si, somebody on the outside, obviously you didn't go, and I don't know if you watched it or anything, but your thoughts on it? I mean, it's a positive thing, isn't it? Getting a good spectrum of the fan base in one room.
Oh, without a doubt, because what did come out of the previous actions from all was some amount of division, and I think now that the trust have to take on the fact that they have to look at what their role is now. Now the club's moving forward. We've managed to, I mean, what they did, in regards to the black and gold and not a pound in the ground, etc., uniting the fans, the Leicester game, and so on and so forth, has been superb. But now they've got to look at where they're going to move forward, because I think whoever comes into the club is going to want, to have some amount of fan interaction, but probably with something like the engagement panel, because obviously we've got to have the engagement panel running as part of the EFL. So, the unison of all the fans groups is something that has to be done moving on. And take it from the respect of the fact is that I think that Chris Wigfield and Begbie's are a very professional organisation. I mean, I listened to the podcast of where Stevie and Dan interviewed him, and I didn't realise at the time until, Chris spoke about how much involvement the administrators have had with other clubs going into administration. And when he listed them all off, and looking at a majority of those clubs, they've left them in a very good place when they've been sold. You know, the fact that Chris is actually a Wednesdayite as well has got to be a bonus, because he's lived through what we've all lived through over the last 10 years and prior. So he'll you know, that team of people will be looking at every bid that comes in and ensuring that whoever purchases the club has got a future-proof plan in place, of which of which the trust can be involved with. But I think the trust have to be respectful of the fact that whoever's going to come in is going to run the club far better than our previous incumbent, and that they probably have a role where they keep the fans united and basically put sort of actions into place, like the meeting the other day, you know, of bringing fans together, influencing, you know, things like the fan zone, you know, things like getting involved with something like what we did, Owls in the Yard, you know, these sort of things. You know,
whoa, no, that's fucking hours. No, I don't want. Whoa, stop! Don't say shit like that. They'll come and take over. No.
You know, it's now that point of taking all the fans groups involved, the women's supporters, Rainbow Owls, Armed Forces, and everybody else out there, and keeping us united now, while the club goes down the process of what Begbie's going to do is find the best owner for this football club to move it on.
Yeah,
I think it's important to point out that Jake spoke quite prominently on the evening and said that that's what the trust want to do. They've no interest in, you know, getting involved in the day-to-day running of the club. What they want to do is they want to be in, they want to give their input where possible and appropriate to any prospective owners, coming in from a let's look after the fans perspective and make sure you're doing right by us. We'll tell you if you're not doing right. They're basically saying what they want to do is hold the owner to account to give match day experiences, or the best possible match day experiences, to the supporters. And I think at heart, it's you've got to find a way of getting the EP and the supporters trust to synthesize. That's not a conversation for the Wednesday week, because we're a podcast and we're talking about things that have happened, and it's not our knitting. But you know, at the end of the day, we've got to find a way to make football supporters, Sheffield Wednesday supporters, have the best possible experience there.
I can give you a little bit on that. I know it's not really what we're talking about, but obviously a lot of people knew that the EP paused, should we call it, obviously in the last few months of what we're doing. So I'm a member of it for now, that is. And there is talk between the various groups to come together and talk with the club and the administrator in the coming weeks, days, whenever, and try and get something, because with this new independent football regulator, with the new guidelines, the EP as we had it at the club wasn't fit for purpose. Everyone on that, and I know John's in the chat and he's part of it as well, tried everything they could. We tried everything. It wasn't for no fault of anyone. It was a lot to do with Chansiri, obviously not doing a lot of these, and this is not me saying the thing. A lot of these.
You mentioned the name.
I know. I've said it. I thought I was doing really well. A lot of these initiatives that the club are coming out now are ideas from years and years that people have suggested, and it's like they've, like I've said before last week, they've opened the book up and gone, yeah, we can do this now. So anyway, so there is things in place that a new fan engagement panel, a fan, whatever you want to call it, advisory board is going to be put together to with the new regulation. They'll meet everything that they need to do for fan engagement. So it'll be good. It'll be interesting, but there's lots going to be changing. So hopefully that all the supporters groups are going to be on that with the trust and with anyone else that gets voted on it. I believe it's going to be a vote rather than just being picked or putting your hand up. So that's going to come. So yeah, it was good. And just at the end of the night, Steve, we had a bit of controversy by Ian, didn't we? All in jest, I believe. But it was. So just clear it up. What did Ian say to you? Come on, Steve. I had a phone call from him.
Bless him. Do you know what? He's, and I'll say this, he's been absolutely right as rain with me. He's been right as rain with us as a podcast. I want to alleviate any sort of controversy around the situation. I genuinely, we were sat there. There's no getting away from it. There's no secrets to be had here. The trust have had a greater involvement for various reasons and various points over the course of the last 6-8 months with James Mappin, Wednesday Till I Die. And as such, the name rolls off the tongue. Obviously, us coming in, I genuinely feel that Ian, bless his heart, stood in front of a room full of people and went, James, Wednesday Till I Die, and then looked at me and went, Stevie. Or did he say, I'm not going to mention the other lot. And then he went, I'm not doing it. And then he called us Fudger's lot, at which point the lot's gone up. And bless him, there was no malice in it. I wasn't offended by it. If anything, I turned it into a little bit of a laugh and a joke. I just honestly think, bless his heart, he's had a bit of a brain fart and just went, oh, shit. I've got a live mic and I can't remember what I was about to say. And that was, so no harm, no foul, no offence sort of taken on our part. If I'm wrong, give me a ring here and we'll sort it out. But not in a negative way, by the way. I've just offered the chair of the supporters trust out. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying.
No, it's all right. It's all right. And he probably won't mind me saying this, but he did message me and goes, fuck me easy, unit. I won't want to mess with him. So, yeah,
it was great, honestly. And at the end of the night, I will say this: he came over. Like I said, there was a lot of things that were already in place, and we came to the party a little bit later. And the idea was to try and get as many eyes on that forum and positivity as possible. I was more than happy to do my bit, however big, however small, whatever it was. Like I said, I got to meet some people finally in the flesh, and it was fantastic to be able to do that and represent our podcast in a wider forum. Just one more thing that I do want to mention: there was a cheque that was given out from the Supporters Trust to the club for £78,572, and as part of all of that, they are now going to have a sponsor's logo on the back of the shorts. You can just see the bottom of it there. The Supporters Trust are now going to have a logo on the back of the first team shorts to facilitate all of that. So fair play to the trust, fair play to the club for getting into bed with them, and fair play to everybody for allowing or trying to get everybody on the same page there.
Oh, I didn't realise that. That was good. I didn't realise the. I know they obviously between them and the Owls Talk had raised 15 grand, 10 grand, whatever it was as well. So there's plenty of money going in. Yeah, it's fantastic. Right, so we'll move on. Any other news, Stevie? You're the newsman. Obviously, there's going to be no shortage, but I know the boss likes us to keep to an hour. But
do you want to talk? Do you want to do a quick couple of minutes on the free agent stuff? We've got Jack Hunt potentially. He's back in training with the club, although we can't sign him. And we've got Liam Cooper, who's been named on several occasions. As it stands this evening, Monday night, we were waiting on the say-so from the EFL to potentially allow us to sign some free agents based on everything that we've been talking about. And I mentioned it last week at that open training session. We had 13 first-team players training across, 2 teams. You can't run a professional football team at any sort of standard with any sort of competitiveness when you've got 13 lads playing 6-a-side and Barry Bannon floating. It's not going to work. I think Jack Hunt is in at the moment, keeping his fitness up and is adding a little bit of quality to those training sessions. But there's no getting away from it. We need more bodies over the line, and people can turn their nose up at the fact that we are where we are because of the reasons that we're there. But it's not really a level playing field, and we're carrying a lot of injuries, and we've got to think about the well-being of those junior players that are in and around things. So I
mean, I suppose at the minute beggars can't be choosers, but like a right back and is not high on my priority list, to be honest. But if we can only sign whoever's available, we can only sign a centre back, I can understand that, but we're desperate for a midfielder, aren't we? Desperate for someone in the middle of the park. And John's just put Emmanuel Dennis. Is the ex-Watford player. I'm not very good. I think he's an attacking player, so anything. But then again, any player. So,
anything.
Yeah.
What makes it worse is that it was reported last week that Chalabar's having another scan because he's pulled up lame again. So he's got another month out now, hasn't he?
Wow.
If he was a racehorse, he'd have been put down by now, wouldn't he?
I would say so. It's frustrating. Again, another player that's frustrating because we saw it against Leicester in the 36 minutes he was on the pitch and he's got his goal. You're right, Simon. Looking like a great player that's going to probably put last season behind him and kick on, which we needed, and it's just not happened for him, has it?
No.
Just not happened for him. So in today's news as well, it's been reported by, I think it was BBC Sheffield or BBC News, that it's 10 interested parties have stumped up the 50 million, which is, I tell you what, it's great news, but what the hell was him who can't be named playing at? I really, unless all these people knew that this was going to happen, or obviously that we're going into administration and they can pick it up for a lot less, then not doing deals with people to sell and get at least some money out of it is weird, isn't it? So there's going to be all and sundry from all over the world. There's going to be local guys. There's going to be American consortiums, Middle East, Qataris, Saudis. There's going to be quite a lot. 10 is pretty interesting, isn't it? And I believe it's got to be preferred bidder status by the 5th of December. I think it was announced as well.
So there's
the short list.
There's a soft closure on the 21st of November, isn't there, with hopefully a preferred bidder secured by the 5th of December. One thing that did come out of the Wakefield chat last week was that he was saying that 50 million is okay, but realistically 50 million will get you to the party, but you're going to need a little bit more than that. And I think he was saying that he was happy that people that are registering their interest have more than 50 million, which is heartening. I don't know what that looks like or how it is. At the end of the day, Chris Wakefield, that is, was quite vocal on our interview that he did with myself and Dan about what he wants to do to the stadium, the ideas around that, the infrastructure at the club, the things that need to be done going forwards. It's not just about signing and buying players and selling them. It's about everything else that goes on around it and making Sheffield Wednesday something that it needs to be. And it's going to take more than 50 million to do that.
I think there's in regards to Begbie's themselves and their own reputation here, is they've got to find the best buyer for the club, as you alluded to, Stevie. That they can't just take the man who can pay the 35 million, 50 million, whatever they end up getting for it, and then not actually prove any sort of plans. They've got a due diligence, because at the end of the day, that company still will exist after Sheffield Wednesday have been sold. And if they don't do a decent job of selling us to the right party, then they aren't going to be appointed to be administrators of when another club fails in the future. So there's a huge amount of professionalism that's got to be put in place here. And they will look at, as in, this is the first point, isn't it? Have you got enough money to be able to buy this club? Yeah, you go, 50 million. But the next step will be, how much money have you got for investment? And also it will be, where's that money come from? So they'll be looking at, there'll be no oligarchs coming in who, how have you got 50 billion sat in the bank? Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's not particularly the right thing that we expect of, as a professional organisation to sell a club to. So it'd be huge. And it will all be in the hands of the lawyers. We'll not know anything about it. There'll be representatives turning up who people will take photographs, who they'll try and say it's this family or that family, it's that person, it's this family. Yeah. And they'll have no links whatsoever, because it will be all under the only person who's going to know are going to be the administrators, and nobody on the internet, nobody on chat groups or whatever is going to know until hopefully the end of December, start of January, when we get into the nitty gritty. Then we start hopefully bringing some players in and showing that there's somebody there investing in the club.
Yeah, we've had a message comment from John. Interesting that some were not required to show proof given who they were. So don't know what he means by that, but John knows. And Craig saying now it's up to 10 and a second party shown around today, so all looking good. So they've been shown around Hillsborough. I mean, I wouldn't personally, if I'm trying to sell something, I wouldn't sell around Hillsborough, but I'd show them around Middlewood with them new changing rooms and stuff, and then just not go any further. But yeah, you've got to look at what you're buying, I suppose. You've got to look at everything. But yeah, it's another. Excuse me, we had a comment from Goose Creative. Chris said, as an administrator, they don't have a huge say. They can pass the fit and proper, and it's best deal for the creditors. The plan is secondary for the administrator. So valid point. Valid point.
Yeah, but they are running the club and they are vetting these people. So it will go down to who is the best choice for the creditors.
Yeah.
And it will also go, fit and proper. But they will have. They're not going to sit there and allow anybody to come in because they are part of the decision making process, as they already are now with what systems they put in place.
Mm-hmm. I think Big Rev 611 wants to throw his hat in the ring. Apparently, he's got a photo of a chest of unrefined Ugandan gold with a person holding a copy of today's newspaper as proof of funds. I mean, you could try it. You could also try and phone your own. Is it the mayor of Sheffield and try and get your tax wiped off or whatever it was? But yeah, hopefully, Stevie. Hopefully, we're not going to get any of these sorts of stories coming out from our new owners, because I think we do deserve to be on a level, smooth sailing ship with just who we're going to sign. Oh, we're going to sign this. Yeah, it's paid every month and all that. Well, guys, any other business from you? I'm sure Stevie's got one. No,
Me,
yeah.
I've got two.
Come on, let's wrap
two
it
bits, just super quick. Just the next argument around signing free agents. It would be remiss of us not to mention that Jan Valery and Sean Pashira are potentially looking at going to the African Cup of Nations. Valery's definitely going. Pashira's made it to the Zimbabwe pre squad. So that could potentially be another two players down. And then just the bits around, and it's a bit of a whinge on my part, the fixtures that have changed for January and February. So Wrexham on the Saturday has been changed to a 12:30. Not too much of an issue there because it's at home. The United game has been shifted from the Saturday to the Sunday on the 22nd of Feb, kicking off at midday. Again, not too much of a major issue because we're travelling from one side of Sheffield to the other. But that Swansea swap from Saturday to Sunday with a 12 o'clock kickoff is absolutely sodding outrageous. And there was somebody in the comments on somebody on the X feed earlier on did a screen grab. The earliest train that you can get on that Sunday gets you just into Swansea just in time for full time. We can argue and we can talk about the what's, whys and wherefores, if you like, of moving fixtures and things about the EFL and so on and so forth. But that is outrageous. It's disgusting. Sorry, I've got a real bugbear about that.
Yeah, and all I heard there was Pop World Saturday night TWW. That's all I heard there, mate. I'm probably going to go, and I'm probably going to do that, and I'm hoping. I know it's the wrong end of the country and all of that, but see if Speakeasy's around. See if you can put me up for the evening. I think it's quicker to get. Yeah. So I'd hope to do that, but we'll see where we are with it. But it's just not right, and the EFL for all their. If it was a top of the table clash, or if it was for a certain incentive or whatever it may be, you'd understand it. But at the end of the day, we do respect it's also we're probably still in the bottom of the league, and Swansea will be flirting with anywhere between 8th and 10th in the league.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. A ridiculous decision, isn't it? Crazy.
Yeah, I know they've got a certain amount of fixtures they've got to put on for TV and everything, but have a look at the fixtures. I'm sure there's a more TV friendly fixture for one and fan friendly fixture for another.
It's got to be a
put it on by all means, put it on, but make it accessible for away fans to get to.
Yeah,
4 o'clock on a Sunday.
No train to get home.
Yeah, that's the other end. Thank you for that, Steve. Go on, Stevie. Sorry.
Just, do you want to do it or am I? Because Matt Davey wants to interrupt our entire conversation so we can plug his Facebook group.
Dan plugged it last week, man. If
Every week, Matt, every week we talk about it. You're in the comments. People are seeing it. Join. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? Wow. Join it. Yeah.
Well,
he's on Facebook. He's giving us some vouchers. Stop bothering me. Thanks for watching, though.
Another little rant from Stevie. I'll finish on a bit of a positive. I didn't mention it earlier, but thank you very much to all our listeners and watchers and everything for any donations you made to us for the Norwich game. We managed to get over 40 Wednesday fans to the game on Wednesday night. So thanks to you guys for donating. Anyone who donated tickets, any donated money, we put money towards it as well to get some thing. We had some fantastic photos sent through to us as well with people that went to the match. So thank you very much. Look out again for TW. There we are. It's on the screen. TWW Together, our community initiative, where we will be trying to get more Wednesday fans to the game now that we can buy tickets and put money into the club. So once again, bottom of my heart, personally, thank you very much for everyone for supporting us with this. And it's fantastic. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to sign off now. Thank you very much for joining the Wednesday week. Please like, subscribe, all the comments, even, and I've not said this for a while, getting the Apple reviews, 5-star and all that sort of stuff, all helps. But thank you very much. We'll be back next week.
I think the reviews have still got James and Vic in them.
They have. and when Cameron Dawson slagged Dan off as well.
Yeah.
It was a 5-star.
Look what happened to Cameron Dawson. He ended up at Rotherham. And look at what happened to Dan, vomiting. There you go.
Yeah. It was great. I called with James just before the Norwich game. It was good to talk to him. Not talked to him for a while, so he's doing good. Fantastic. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week. Signing off.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you modern references.
I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This shows like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. Going, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. She. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday Week. Join us.
Put on your pod